back to the 30-day Pilates challenge for beginners. Today we're going to tackle single leg circles. Sometimes single leg circles are challenging for both people who are beginning Pilates mat and even people who have been practicing Pilates mat for a while. If you have tight back muscles, or especially if you have tight hamstrings, you're going to find that this pose may be a little challenging for you. But just like all the other poses that we do, we're going to break it down so that you can modify it so that it's comfortable for you, and then you can increase the intensity of the pose as you feel comfortable doing it. So let's get started. So you start in that supine position. So the modified variation for this pose would be to keep your legs bent and your feet planted. Anytime you shorten those levers, it's going to make it a little bit easier for you. From here, you're going to extend. I'll start with the right leg. So, of course, this is a very challenging thing for many people to do. I find that many beginners, and as I said, even people who've been practicing for a while, find it very challenging to keep that leg straight. So, get the leg as straight as you can. Engage that quadricep muscle, that big thigh muscle up at the top of your leg to try to help extend it, but just do what you can. From here, if you're a beginner, you may want to keep your arms by your side with your palms facing the floor to help your torso remain stable. If you feel comfortable doing so, you can reach those arms up vertical. Now you don't have the support of your arms to help keep your torso still. That means that you're going to have to rely on those muscles in your torso to keep you still. From here, you're going to take that right leg. Now they're called single leg circles, but in all honesty, for most people, they end up to be in a D. So from here, what we'll do is we'll go down, around, and up. Down, around, and up. Now, I've got a certain range for my circle. It doesn't have to be the same range for your circle. Your range may be smaller, your range may be larger, but you want to select a range that enables you to keep your torso still. You don't want your torso rocking from side to side. Try to keep it as stable as possible. So that means when you come just about there in your circle, you find that you really have to give those abdominals a squeeze, or maybe your left hip would lift up off the floor, or maybe you would just get a rocking motion that you don't want in your torso. Now, I'm going to reverse direction and I'm going to show you the more classical variation of this pose. The more classical version of the pose involves also extending the lower leg. So now you've got much longer levers that's going to make it a little more challenging. So, down, around, and up. Down, around, and up. As you notice, the back of the skull stays down in this pose. So while you're executing this, you're focusing not only on moving that upper leg, like we said, in a somewhat circular or D-shaped motion, but you're focusing on that stability of the torso. And what you're going to find as we move on in these Pilates poses, if you haven't already, sometimes the stillness is harder to create than the movement themselves, because you're subtly, or sometimes it feels like not so subtly, using all of those muscles to stabilize the movement. So we'll do the last one here. And you can switch over to the other side. I'm going to stay uneven for you now that I've explained the pose. So if you're struggling with that pose, don't get frustrated. Just use the information that you get to help you moving forward. What's making that pose challenging? Is it extending the leg? Are your hamstrings really tight? Well, maybe that tells you that you should incorporate maybe some hamstring stretches. Of course, part of it is just DNA. Some people are born with very long, flexible hamstrings. It just comes naturally to them. It's like those people who can just, sit down and play a concerto with very little effort. Other people have very tight hamstrings, and even though they may constantly work on lengthening and stretching them to keep them flexible, it's still one of the areas where they hold the tightness in their body. So it's something that you can work on. You'll notice that you make little improvements as you work on it, but don't strive for perfection, because who's perfect after all? Thanks so much for joining me today. I can't wait to reveal the next pose tomorrow. We'll see you then. Take care.